Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the energetic aspect to relationships. There are social dynamics in our relationships that we can see. There's our patterns of behavior towards each other, how we treat each other, and then there is various things like money and service and affection and kind words. I've talked about the five love languages, which are affirmation, quality time, gifts, physical touch, and personal service. And so some people have one dominant love language and other people have a variety of ones, but it's the way people give and receive love on a physical level. But what we don't know about are there are two things we can't see. And the first is the energy that flows between us, because there might be one person who appears to be angry or appears to be the negative person in a relationship, but the other person, the person that seems to be more upbeat and seems to be the nicer of the two people, is sucking energy off of them, which is causing a problem. The other person's energy is getting drained, it's affecting their moods, and these types of things. So the energy that flows between us. Of course, money and resources is an energy, are an energy, kind words are an energy, personal service is an energy, gifts and, like I said, money and these types of things. So there's an exchange in relationships. But mostly what we can see is the material exchange between two people. And very few people you really can't see the energy exchange, but you can feel it. So let's say one person is feeding off of another person. And when they're together, the person who's feeding is happy and they're able to communicate with the world, and they appear to be the better of the two people. The other person might be introverted or whatever, and their energy is being drained from them. But as soon as there's a separation between these two people, the person who was doing the feeding, their health will start to decrease. Their psychological condition might decrease. Whatever they were feeding off of, whatever energy they were using up from the other person, no longer can sustain their vampirish, parasitic ways, and they start to act in a different way. They start to transform into another person. Whereas the person who is being fed upon, their energy level spikes, their thoughts become clearer, they feel like they got out of prison. And so this is a telltale indication of when one person is severely feeding off another person. Or you might have somebody that seems to be everybody's in their lives is feeding off their energy. And so they're in these social dynamics and they have all these duties they feel like they have to do, and they feel like they're drained. They're put into some sort of box. They're not living the way they're supposed to be. And all these people are feeding off of their energy. But then when they go off, they're out in nature or they break free from their social system, from their social dynamics, all of a sudden they feel recharged. And this is something for everybody to kind of be aware of. It's good to spend time alone every once in a while, so you can see when you break free. It only takes like a week. It takes a week for people to fall into some sort of Stockholm syndrome. And then there's the energetic bonds between people. And there's some people who are just, they'll provoke you. They'll provoke other people into having bad emotions, and they'll feed off of those emotions, or negative entities or demons that surround these energy feeders, these vampires, will provoke things in you, and then they'll feed off of the negative energy. And so you think you're some sort of person. You might have grown up in a family like this where you were being used for your energy, and you think you're a bad person, you're behaving poorly, but you're being provoked in all these ways. And when you break free from your family and you get with more healthy people, you start a spiritual practice, your diet changes, the next thing you know, you're like a totally different person. And you realize all this time you were in this negative social and energetic dynamic. The other piece is there sometimes is a past life debt or soul agreement between two people where someone is performing a role for somebody and the relationship doesn't seem fair, but they are allowing there was some sort of agreement here where one person is allowing the other person to serve them to get rid of some scaric or karmic debt. And so that the person who is serving off this debt, who has done something in a past life to the other person, or had the other person did some sort of service for them, and they're basically cleaning the slates so both of them can move on. So the dynamics of the relationship look like one person's completely serving the other, but if they're both in harmony and okay with it, then it might be this might be some sort of reason. And I want to talk about this more substantially in a longer video about just sort of accepting what comes to us and not looking at it in the material life like, oh, this wasn't fair, or because you never know what kind of spiritual leap you might take for something that appears to be unfair. Some kind of thing gets cleaned out in your system. I've talked about this in the Heartfulness videos about the cleaning process, getting rid of some scars, getting rid of past impressions. And all these things can happen if you are taking what comes to you as being from God, whatever people are there that are present in your life, and these types of things. Just say, you know what, this is for my best self-interest. I'm going to make a separate video about this. But if you feel bogged down in life and you are in some sort of maybe unhealthy relationships and you can't move forward and you can't achieve your goals, the beliefs of the people around you, they're keeping you boxed in, like you have to play a certain role, like you have to be the loser so that the other people around you, their self-esteem feels better, or whatever it might be. Maybe you're taking things from somebody who has money or resources, you're taking from them. And by taking from them, you weaken yourself. You weaken your own ability to access your own internal power to manifest your own reality in your own life. You're sucking off of their life. And they're doing things to make sure this continues because it helps them feel good about themselves. And they know that on some level, they know that they are taking energy from you. So they want to keep you weak and keep your self-esteem low from going out in the world and maximizing your potential and breaking free from this demonic and dysfunctional relationship with the other people. So this is where it's good to be able to, like, if you go out and camp or you go out and spend time with other people, you find people there are a lot of people out there's not a lot of people. Most people are operating at below acceptable levels of energy. They don't have enough prana or enough chi or whatever you might call it. They don't have enough life energy. They don't have a lot of testosterone in males. And in females, they don't have a lot of estrogen, and they just don't have a lot of life force. And you see people are desperate and they just need somebody else's energy. So if you can find people who have a lot of positive energy, have energy to give, and you have some sort of relationship with them, and all of a sudden you feel like a new person, then you got to figure out what to do about your other relationships in the social web, the social network that you are involved in. All right, so I think I'll make another video about this, but I want to get something done on this, make a longer narrative in the future. So these are just a few thoughts. Everyone have a blessed afternoon.